Well, let's see here. See if we can do a few things at the same time. Answer some viewer questions and build another solar panel. Let's see. Current request list. Show usage during heater use and pack heater. Discuss running home off car. Passing power. Well, it'll be a little hard to pass people in the house. Why the Model S should not have a solar panel. Huh. I think it's going to be discussed running home off car, or why the Model S should not have a solar panel. Which would you guys like to see? Why don't we do first discussing running your home off the Model S. Technicalities, why it's possible, should it be possible, or isn't it possible, so on and so forth. And if you don't mind, I will be moving around as I'm soldering together the solar panel. I ran out of solder the other night. Let's see if we got it hot enough. Oh, yeah, that's hot. Let's see what we got here. Tapping some ends in. Now, technically, it is possible to run your home off the Model S's battery pack. And technically, that should also be fairly easy. Now, the Model S, there's, for the most part, there's two sizes of Tesla Model S cars right now. There's a 60 kilowatt, and then there is a 85 kilowatt battery pack. Yes, I know there used to be a 40 kilowatt. The only 40 kilowatts that are out right now are actually 60 kilowatt that are limited by software to 40 kilowatt. So for all intents and purposes, it really is a 60 kilowatt car. And in case anybody's ever looking for a soldering iron, this is made by Wallenk Corporation, manufactured in the USA, labeled as 40 watts, and draws exactly 40 watts. It's a very nice soldering iron. Just having a little hard time finding new tips locally, but I will eventually. So now, of course I had what I was going to talk about for that topic all in my head, and of course I forgot, and this needs to heat up a little more. There we go. There we go, nice and strong. Technicalities running your house off the Model S. Now, for the most part, there is no real way to get at your battery pack. You'd have to start disassembling things, hacking them apart, to be able to get to the DC connections on your battery pack, as the car will not invert the DC into AC, at least not at this time, directly for you. So you would have to start removing things and somehow get directly to the DC connection. So basically you'd have to access the battery side of your charging the onboard charger's cabling. Not fun, not easy. For the most part, it's going to be very time consuming, and you might even damage and or render your charger useless. Now, if you have a supercharging option, which you'd need if you're going to use the CHAdeMO or the Tesla superchargers, the CHAdeMO adapter of the Tesla superchargers. Yeah, giggle it up over there, Mr. Curious George. That's all that kid watches. Now, with the supercharging, what happens is when you plug in that supercharger, it sends a signal to the car. A series of contactors go clicking. If you've ever plugged in a Tesla, you'll know what I'm talking about in terms of clicking. And what happens is then those contactors bypass the onboard charger altogether and pretty much wire your charge port directly to the battery pack. So that means if you were able to somehow directly measure at the charge port when you have a supercharger plugged into a Model S, you would be measuring 300 and something volts. Probably, well, fully charged, probably around 380 to 400. The 85 and the 60 kilowatt Model S's do have slightly different top end voltages. So now, like I said, when that supercharger is plugged in, the car completely bypasses the onboard charger. That's the whole point of supercharging, is to have a really freaking big charger sitting outside the car that's able to deliver much more power. In this case, a supercharger can put up currently up to 120 kilowatts into the battery pack. From the 80 kilowatt, and I believe the highest I have seen someone be able to measure was about 100 kilowatts on a 60 kilowatt battery pack. Let's see, that's 2. I need 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. I need 10 of these. This is called tabbing wire. It's what connects each individual cell together. Watch my how to build a solar panel. Right now, this is going to be 120 watt, 12 volt solar panel.
Apple.
Apple?
Apple.
Okay. Go get an apple. Go get it and I'll cut it up for you.
Apple.
This is going to be a 120 watt solar panel. It's going to cost me about 50 cents a watt. Not UL approved, of course, and I cannot legally plug it into my house, but there's lots of stuff I can do with it. Okay, hold on everybody. Sorry for the delay. Alright, you got your plate? Where are you? Oh, there. Grab your apples. Okay, no, give me.
No.
Alright, I got your apple.
No. Jesus.
Now, if you have a little midget like Meatball behind me, likes apples. One of these is a lifesaver.
What?
Why are you chewing on this? Oh, 1, 2, 3? Okay. 1, 2. There you go.
There. Okay.
There you go. Go eat. I'll put that away in a few minutes. One. Where was I? So anyways, bypasses so you can hook directly into the battery pack. Now, despite Tesla flat out stating if you use your car as a stationary power source, such as to power your home, it's an automatic warranty void. So we don't want that now, do we? Why am I despooling it here? So, if you can somehow figure out a way to initiate the correct pilot signal to the car to allow it to enable that contactor, then you could easily tap directly into that 60 or 85 kilowatt battery directly from the charge port. Don't really recommend doing that. Please just buy a frickin' standby generator or put a whole bunch of lead acid batteries in your garage or something. No reason to ruin your Model S, especially the battery pack, because if somehow you do manage to draw it too low, because remember, the car thinks you are charging it, not taking power out of it. So as long as the car thinks you are charging it, it will continue to keep that contactor open, at least in my theory, until you get down to extraordinarily low percentage of battery power. Then the car eventually will go into complete stasis mode, completely locking out all user accessibility, requiring a tow to a Tesla facility to have the car checked and reinitialized, and make sure there's no permanent battery damage. Now, if I am wrong on that, since there's no way I am going to try doing that on my own car, if you draw too much power out of a lithium cell and get it below a certain point, once it drops below that certain voltage, that cell will not recover. So basically, if you, for the most part, if you drain a lithium cell down to nothing, that's it. Now you have yourself a paperweight. So that's a technicality. Plus, alright, now we got all that power coming out of the car. We're still talking 300 something volts DC. Now we're going to have to step that power down to something more usable. Now I do know there are some solar grid tie inverters that could handle similar voltages. I have no idea what something like that would cost. That's a little above my price range, I know for a fact. It ain't going to be cheap. Either that, or you're going to have to use some sort of massive DC to DC converter and drop the voltage down pretty darn low. Something more usable, maybe in the hundreds, or even down to 12 or 24 volts, which of course you better have some really, really thick wiring. That's also a little bit above my electrical expertise to be able to recommend something to be able to do that. Just to keep in mind, if you do decide to do that at your own risk, I do not endorse that at all. So technically it is possible, and if you do manage to do it at 60 kilowatts, let's see, there's my phone. Do some calculations here. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I need 2 more. Alright, so I do know during the daytime I use about, let's just round it up to 100 kilowatts a month divided by 30 days in the average month. So I use about 3.3 kilowatt hours during the day, each day. Of course it can vary, and that is on my on-peak hours, so it does not also take into consideration weekends. So let me redo that again, because most people that I have spoken to that have interested in using the Model S as a stationary power source, of course everybody would like to do it during power outages in case of emergency, which I will get into that in just a moment, because that is also possible and rather cheaply and easily. You're not going to power your whole house, but you could power some miscellaneous emergency equipment, or maybe even get your furnace running for a short period of time, or use it to charge some other battery bank. I'll get to that in a second. Now, what was I at? Okay, so let's just say, okay, that was, okay, emergency power was one idea. Another idea is to charge the car at night on cheap time of use electrical rates, and then selling it back to the power company during the daytime at the more expensive rates. Now, Tesla actually has a product that they produce for Solar City. The solar company Tesla is affiliated and owns or something, I don't know, it's complicated. Solar City has a 10 kilowatt unit that does just that, charges at night and sells it back, or either sells it or the home consumes that during the day when rates are extra high. So if we take that into consideration, that would save me $60 a month. Well, that's if I didn't have to charge it at night. Now, taking into consideration, there are charging losses. nothing's exactly... Okay, give me the remote. I'll put another episode of George on. Nothing is perfect. There is no 100% efficiency anywhere. What are you doing? Where are your pants? Huh? Where are your pants? Move. Daddy's doing a video.
What's that piss?
Yeah, go get your pants.
The piss.
I'm going to sit on you.
Piss.
I'm going to sit on you.
No.
Oh, yeah.
Piss.
It's the pants.
What's the piss?
Where's the pants?
What's that piss?
I asked you, where are the pants?
Piss.
The pants. Go get the pants. No, don't touch. That's pooies.
Hot.
No, not hot. That's hot.
Hot.
Yes. Owie. Owie hot.
Yes.
Like I said, nothing is 100% efficient. So, for starters, you have line loss efficiency, which is the loss, power loss through heat in your wiring through your home and charging cable. The charger itself in the Model S has about a 90% efficiency. So that means 10% of the power going in is wasted as heat. Unless you're charging on a 120 volt outlet, at 120 volts it is only 85% efficient. So there's that efficiency right there. The battery pack's efficiency, putting out the power, is only about 90% roughly efficiency. And then you have to re-invert it back to the 240 volts going back into your home, which would be another roughly 90% efficiency. So right off the bat you're losing 30% of your power. If you take that into consideration, plus what you're paying to charge the car at night, you're really not saving too much. Now, I did a video about doing that using a grid tie inverter. Oh shit, that video was probably a year and a half ago. You can see that under my YouTube account. I have a playlist with that on there. Solar cells, negative, backside's positive. I did a whole video on that about a year and a half ago. I got a whole playlist on it. You're welcome to look that up. I call it power shifting. Some flux down. Now, so if you're going to use that, at least through your car, plus don't forget, it's quite a bit of wear and tear on your car. You would, if you're doing it just to supplement your daytime usage, it wouldn't be worth it. If you do it to supplement and sell back that 60 kilowatts to the power company, you'd be selling it back. Like for me, it'd be at a daytime rate. So 60 kilowatts, which you won't get the 60 kilowatts out of the car because it leaves about 10% as an emergency. So of course we don't want to completely drain it. So we'll say 50 kilowatts a day times my daytime rate is 28 cents. That'd be $14 a day times 30 days. No, times because it's weekends. Are my time of use cheap rates, so that's subtract 2, 4, 6, 8 days out of a month, so 22 days. So $14 times 22 days. Yes, Gino, that would be $308 a month. Which, if you don't care about the longevity of your battery pack, that's almost half a car payment, which is not too shabby. But then we got 50 kilowatts times 5 cents a kilowatt, that's $2.50 times 22 days. So subtract $55. So 308 minus 55. Now we're down to 253. Now let's see, 30%. So that's 50 kilowatts times 30%, 15 kilowatts. So that means we blew 15 kilowatts. So another 75 cents a day. So now we're up to $3.25 a day to charge and pump that power. Just adding in 75 cents a day in inefficiencies, and that's not. Don't get me wrong. It's not just charging the car. That's the whole inefficiency process. It'd actually be slightly more than that, but I can't get more technical than that without really starting to measure things. So $3.25 a day times 22 days, $71.50. So 308 minus 71.50. So now we're down to $236.50. I also did not factor in taxes that I have to pay for the electrical and whatnot and so on and so forth. It's still $236.50 isn't too shabby. To me, is it worth damaging my battery pack? Not really. Maybe if I had an 85 kilowatt battery where I could dump in about 70 kilowatts of that a day. 10% of 85 times 0.1, 8.5. So yeah, I'd round it to about 70. Yeah, so 70 kilowatts a day. Maybe if I know it wouldn't void my Tesla. It'd probably void the battery warranty, but if it wouldn't void the rest of the car warranty, it's a maybe. Not sure if I would do it or not, but now we'd be talking probably around $280 a month. And keep in mind also, you wouldn't be able to drive the car because the car would be dead during the daytime, and you'd have to charge it up again at night. Kind of defeats the purpose, wouldn't you say? So I'd say forget it in that case. If you're trying to do it, yeah, like I said, save, just supplement your daytime usage. It ain't worth the wear and tear because you're saving literally maybe $2 a day. But of course, for me, it'd be about $1 to $2 a day during daytime electrical usage. Not even 20, 40, 60, that's 75 cents a day. Now for emergencies, power outage, multiple day outage, my daytime usage, like I said, is about 100 kilowatts a month during the daytime. I don't even remember what my usage is without charging an electric car, as it's been so long. I use about 2 megawatts a month at night, including charging the car, and I do a lot of driving. I'm at 16,000 miles in less than 6 months. So you can see I do quite a bit of driving, and I should start working on this a little more. I'd like to finish this, at least soldering everything together. I'd like to get the backing on here so the silicone can dry. Where was I? Now, yeah, for the emergencies, that would be great. A 60 kilowatt or 85 kilowatt battery. If you're running everything, for me, running everything as I normally would, not counting charging my car, I'd probably get 4 or 5 days out of the car at least on my 60 kilowatt battery pack. Longer if I really conserve. And I 3 or 4 or 5 days, that's still running my dryer, washing machine, everything. So, looks like someone's here. So I have to stop the video, take care of that, and I'll be back again. Alrighty, we're back. I think I was talking about emergency. Oh, first, shameless product placement, Spiked Island Adult Lemonade by King Juice Corporation. Highly recommend it. Good stuff. We do all his car work. Major sponsor of our Halloween party. Good stuff too. I needed that. So, anyways, 60 kilowatt battery. Get most people through a series of storms, power outages, no problem. If it's not very cold out, where that cold is zapping additional power from your battery pack due to the battery pack heater and whatnot, you could probably stretch that out to a couple weeks to a month if you're really, really conservative. Maybe just running your refrigerator only for those of you in a warmer climate. For us in the colder climates, screw the refrigerator. We'll put the refrigerator outside. And outside can keep our fridge cold. Well, we figure out some way to power our furnaces if we hopefully still have gas. Or in my case, I could also power my fireplace blower. That puts out about 40,000 BTU. Would keeps at least my downstairs nice and really warm. Well, it trickles upstairs where I am now. Split level house, they suck. Keeps upstairs from freezing. Now, like I said earlier, there is a way around that whole issue of trying to tap into your main battery pack. This is a little more risky. I have done this with an internal combustion car once or twice in emergencies, not necessarily power outage emergencies. I was just in a location where there was no power to begin with. Basically, now most of you probably know that there is a 12-volt battery in the Model S, and that runs your auxiliary components, your center console screen and whatnot all runs off of that. And that's charged off the main pack. This would reduce efficiency even further, but it's quick, non-invasive, and will not generally damage your Model S. Like I say, if you're doing this in an emergency, emergency is an emergency. People's lives are on the line. You had a big storm come through, like Hurricane Sandy. A lot of people without power for weeks. Some people even a month or two. Obviously, if you have a backup generator, use it. If anybody needs a low-cost inverter generator that goes for about 6 to 9 hours at 50% load on a single gallon of gasoline, contact me. I do sell them. Otherwise, now what you can do is get yourself a large power inverter, 12-volt power inverter. And what that does is that converts 12-volt DC current, such as what is in your auxiliary battery, into 120-volt current, or if you're in another country that, where U.S. we generally use 120 volts for most of our things, except our extremely high drain equipment. You can also get 240-volt ones. There we go, one cell done. Right. Excuse me. Whew. It's negative. Started with, what's that one? That should be starting that one positive. Make sure I do this right. So basically, anyway, sorry, like I said, I don't get much time to work on projects watching two kids all day during the off season. My shop is not very busy. So basically what you do is you hook up that 12-volt power inverter to your Model S's auxiliary battery pack, which, since that battery pack is very inaccessible without removing the frunk, there are 12-volt terminals that connect directly to it right behind the nose cone. Pop the nose cone off, clamp on or screw on your inverter, and start inverting away. Don't cheap out with an inverter. Get one that has, don't spend $75 on a 2,000 watt inverter. Unless you're me that likes to experiment with things. That's another story. Get a decent one. It's good for emergencies. Trust me, you'll find lots of uses for it in other manners. And what you do is then you just plug. Usually they have an outlet on them, just like your standard 120 or 240 volt outlet, and plug whatever you need to right into it. Run a few extension cords, so on and so forth. And there you go, done. And since it's non-invasive, now I don't know if doing that would void your Tesla warranty. I do know some people have done it for camping and so forth. Now, one thing I will warn you is the Teslas are very finicky about their 12-volt batteries. So if you do decide to go that route, make sure you have a spare 12-volt source of some sort. They're commonly known as jump boxes. A jump box is a portable, pretty much jump starter that you can use. Now, if the 12-volt battery in the car runs down too low, the car will not wake up. You will cannot enter or exit the vehicle. So if for some reason the inverter, you draw more power than what the DC to DC converter will send to the 12-volt battery, or if the car is in, say, sleep mode and not monitoring it as actively as it would in normal conditions, it's a very real possibility. And a few of the early Model S's actually had defective 12-volt batteries. Most of those have all been replaced by now. Some still are, as some people live in pretty far distances from a service center. But that way, if somehow you do manage to drain that 12-volt battery, you could always hook up a jump box and get enough voltage in there just to tick over the car. Once the car wakes up, you're good to go, because that DC to DC converter will kick right in and charge up that 12-volt battery. So in that case, if that happens, discontinue use of your inverter. Like say you're using it intermittently, run your furnace, have that furnace get your house up to 90 degrees if you're in freezing temperatures, and then shut it off for a few hours to give the car enough time to recharge your 12-volt battery. Or if you know you're going to be drawing a larger load for a while, you can always put a sandbag or something on the driver's seat. Roll your window down, put a sandbag on the driver's seat. Yes? Okay, go get the remote.
No.
No?
Hot.
Yes, hot. Get a sandbag, put that on the driver's seat, or some other heavy object, and that will keep the car woken up for about an hour, allowing. And once the car is woken up, that will make sure that it is actively charging that battery at the same time you are draining it. We'll get the remote. I'll put on another episode. You earned it. You are a very good boy for Papa all day today. Don't touch. It's going to fall down and you're going to get owie. Did you find your pants yet? That's a simple way of accessing power from your car. I've actually done that with mopeds. A little bit different, but that was a long time ago, before I had a generator. When I lived in the Dells, I managed a little resort hotel on Lake Delton called the Canyon Bay, and frequent power outages in the Dells every time a major storm came through. And I put a 600-watt inverter on my moped, adjusted the idle screw so the thing was running like a bat out of hell, put a big box fan on it, powered through the inverter, and it ran for about 6 hours. And that bike is still running today. So I mean that worked pretty neat. Not that I recommend doing that, but in emergencies, yeah. Wow. Uh-oh. Throw away?
Toy.
Go throw away.
No.
Stubborn.
Uh-oh.
Don't touch.
Uh-oh.
Louise, caca.
Caca.
Yeah.
It's the apple.
I think I've touched on that. Now, once again, I will reiterate, Tesla flat out states that
What?
that using your car as a stationary power source will void its warranty. So if you are going to do it, do it just as an emergency, and I'd go with the 12 volt option or inverter option. I wouldn't go with the trying to access your main battery pack. You're talking the difference of if you know, worst case you destroy the battery, either one. I'd rather be replacing the $100 12 volt battery than the $50,000 main drivetrain pack, because I highly doubt. Did you poop? Nope. I highly doubt Tesla would be warranting your battery pack after all that. And there we have it. Trying to think if there's anything. Is there anything I need to add on that? Those are easy to break. You like bottle caps, don't you? That? Dee. Yeah, we saw a lot of DTDs today. That was yesterday. Yesterday it was. Oh, today too. Yesterday was Black Friday. If some of these people spend as much time, you know, maybe getting a job. Garbage, throw away.
Oh no.
Yeah. Getting a job instead of waiting outside Best Buy for 2 weeks just to get an Xbox or something at half price. Really? Just really? The only thing I ever waited Black Friday for was Nintendo Wii. And I managed to get 6 of them, which was all the store had, because I was smart. I went to a GameStop. No one ever waits in line for a GameStop. So I got all... Jane! Stop it! I got all 6 Wii's, turned around, sold them for $500 a piece, paid what, $250 each? That was a hefty profit. I was happy. That means I got mine for free.
Okay,
Kid, I'm not even going to ask anymore what you are doing. So, as it stands, I think that would be... anyways, I think I did mention Tesla's experimenting with 10 kilowatt battery packs. Shh! Ruma. Go eat your apple. So, actually, I would like to have something like that. I have a theory. My theory is old Roadster battery packs that were replaced under warranty. If the packs weren't easily refurbished, I have a theory that Tesla is using old Roadster battery packs. You know, splitting the grouping of cells and using those for the 10 kilowatt grid tie setups that they've been doing, experimenting with. Smart, you know. I have a theory also that you know, once your battery pack no longer provides enough power to move your car, you know, a reasonable distance. Say right now I got 209 mile range, but in 15 years I might only have 50 mile range. Possibly in that case, they might be able to convert your pack so you could use it to help you with your home. Gino?
No.
And as usual, I guess that's it for this Tesla Model S Explained. I had a paper. Here it is.
Well, hi.
Where'd it go? Pick up. Pick up. Give Daddy. Give Daddy. Pick up. Come on. Pick up. Come on. Oh my gosh, kid. You and your brother. Let's see. Let's see what else we got. We got why the Model S should not have a solar panel. You would not believe how many people ask me if the Model S should have a solar panel. That's coming in the next video. What better video to do that one with than while I'm actually building a solar panel. Although I am tempted to put a solar panel on my electric Alfa Romeo. Although I'm already never going to get back what it cost me to build the thing. So I think we'll just scratch that. See you next vid.